Welcome to another episode of Mastering Cybersecurity, developed by baremetalcyber.com. Let's dive in. Cryptography is the toolkit that keeps digital information private, intact, and provable across phones, websites, apps, and cloud services that people use every day. Its core goals are confidentiality, so only intended parties read data; integrity, so changes are detectable; authentication, so identities are verified; and non-repudiation, so important actions cannot be credibly denied later. These goals matter during online purchases, medical portal logins, and private messages, where mistakes can expose money, identity, or safety. Modern cryptography packages hard math into reliable building blocks that developers embed into protocols and products you already use. Although the math underneath can be advanced, the practical ideas are approachable when explained with plain vocabulary and small examples. By the end, the main parts will connect like puzzle pieces that work together to keep data protected and trustworthy. Before using the tools, it helps to name the basic parts clearly and consistently in plain language. Plain text is readable information. Ciphertext is scrambled information. An algorithm is the recipe, and a key is the secret value that drives the recipe. Encryption transforms plain text into ciphertext, and decryption reverses that transformation when the right key is provided. Encoding changes how data is represented for compatibility, not secrecy, which is why base 64 never protects anything by itself. Hashing creates a fixed-length fingerprint that detects changes, but it is one way and cannot be reversed into the original message. Keeping these distinctions straight prevents common mistakes and makes the later examples much easier to understand and apply. Public key, also called asymmetric, cryptography pairs two mathematically related keys, where one is public and one is private. The Rivest-Shamir-Adleman (RSA) and elliptic curve cryptography (ECC) are the most common families, each enabling encryption, digital signatures, and secure key exchange. With encryption, someone publishes a public key so others can send secrets that only the matching private key can read later. With signatures, the private key produces a verifiable stamp that proves the signer's identity and that the message has not been altered. Key exchange lets two parties agree on a fresh symmetric key for speed, while keeping eavesdroppers blind to the value being negotiated across the network. Everyday examples include secure website connections, secure email options, and software updates that arrive with a signature proving they truly came from the real publisher. A cryptographic hash function produces a fixed-length fingerprint of any input, changing drastically when even one character changes. Good hashes offer pre-image resistance, so outputs do not reveal inputs. Second pre-image resistance, so an attacker cannot find a different input with the same output. And collision resistance, so two distinct inputs rarely share a fingerprint. The secure hash algorithm, SHA, families, like SHA-2 and SHA-3, are standard choices across systems that check data integrity. Hashes help detect tampering in downloaded files, protect stored passwords when combined with salts, and anchor signatures that cover large documents efficiently. Because hashing is one way by design, you cannot turn a hash back into the original message, which is a feature rather than a limitation. Treat hashes as tamper detectors and building blocks rather than as a substitute for encryption or access control decisions. Proving that a message came from the right party and was not changed can be done in two different ways. A message authentication code, MAC, uses a shared secret to compute a tag that a partner can recompute and compare for integrity and authenticity. A hash-based message authentication code, HMAC, is a popular form that combines a hash function with a secret key, providing strong verification properties with well-understood behavior. Digital signatures achieve a similar outcome without shared secrets by using the sender's private key to sign and the sender's public key for verification. MACs are common inside private systems where parties already have a shared key, like an internal service and its gateway checking each request. Digital signatures are common across open ecosystems where anyone must verify the signer's identity, such as verifying software updates or legal documents. Strong cryptography depends on unpredictable values, which is where randomness and entropy enter the picture. A cryptographically secure random number generator, CSRNG, gathers entropy from unpredictable sources and stretches it into high-quality random numbers suitable for keys, nonces, and initialization vectors, IVs. A nonce is a value used once to ensure that repeated messages never create repeated ciphertext that leaks patterns to attackers watching the wire. If randomness is weak or repeated, attacks become practical because patterns let adversaries recover keys or forge messages. Operating systems expose secure random APIs that modern languages wrap, which developers should prefer over writing any custom randomness logic. Treat randomness as a security dependency on equal footing with algorithms and keys because mistakes here silently weaken even the strongest mathematical designs. Keys deserve their own life cycle because protection fails if keys are created, stored, or retired poorly. Generation should use a CSRNG, and storage should keep keys outside application memory whenever possible to reduce accidental exposure during bugs or crashes. A hardware security module, HSM, or a cloud key management service, KMS, can generate, store, and use keys without letting the raw key material leave secure boundaries. Distribution should follow least privilege, so only the components that must use a key can access it, ideally with rotation policies that replace keys on a sensible schedule. Backup and escrow need careful control so recovery is possible without creating shortcuts that insiders or attackers can exploit during stressful incidents. Retirement should include destroying old keys and documenting the change, so future audits or investigations do not accidentally revive unsafe secrets. Secure web browsing offers a friendly way to see cryptography working behind the scenes at large scale. Transport Layer Security, TLS, is the protocol that negotiates a secure connection between a browser and a website, starting with a handshake that agrees on algorithms and fresh keys. The browser checks a digital certificate that binds the site's name to a public key, issued by a Trusted Certificate Authority, CA, inside the wider public key infrastructure, PKI. Modern handshakes use forward secrecy through elliptic curve Diffie-Hellman ephemeral, ECDHE, which creates a one-time symmetric key that remains safe even if the server's long-term private key is stolen later. The browser also checks that the certificate matches the requested hostname, chains to a trusted CA, and has valid date ranges. When those checks pass, the browser shows a lock and quietly encrypts and authenticates all subsequent traffic using fast symmetric keys. Protecting data while stored is different from protecting data while moving, and both jobs matter equally for a complete picture. Encryption in transit uses protocols like TLS to protect network connections between clients and services, which prevents eavesdropping and tampering on public or private links. Encryption at rest protects stored data on disks, in databases, and inside backups, which deters theft from lost devices, discarded drives, or unauthorized snapshots. Full disk encryption protects everything on a device, while database or file-level encryption focuses on specific sensitive columns, tables, or documents. Application-level encryption can protect values before they ever reach storage, which keeps administrators from reading data they do not need for their role. Tokenization replaces sensitive values with random tokens and stores the mapping elsewhere, which reduces exposure by keeping real data out of many systems entirely. Even strong primitives can be misused, and many real incidents trace back to configuration errors or outdated choices rather than broken math. Using weak algorithms or tiny keys creates easy targets because computing power improves every year and old ciphers become fragile. Reusing nonces or IVs, choosing the wrong mode of operation, or failing to authenticate data invites padding oracles and similar message tampering attacks. Timing differences and side channels can leak secrets when code paths run faster or slower based on hidden values, which is why constant time libraries exist. Downgrade attacks trick systems into negotiating older, weaker protocols, which is why secure configurations disable obsolete options even when some legacy clients complain. The safest mindset is simple and practical, which is to pick modern defaults, avoid custom designs, and verify behavior with testing rather than hope. The field keeps evolving, and several modern directions are shaping what products we'll use next. Post-quantum cryptography aims to resist future quantum computers, and the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, is standardizing new algorithms for general adoption. During the transition, many systems will perform hybrid key exchange that combines a classical algorithm with a post-quantum candidate, so either failure still leaves the connection protected. Zero-knowledge proofs let someone prove a fact without revealing the underlying secret, which can support privacy-preserving logins or selective disclosures. Fully homomorphic encryption promises computation on encrypted data without decryption, which could enable secure cloud processing when designs become practical for broad workloads. For beginners, the key message is to watch vendors adopt these capabilities inside familiar protocols rather than trying to integrate experimental tools alone. Beginners can make safe progress today by favoring mature components and letting high-level protocols carry most of the complexity. Use established libraries that wrap careful implementations because they default to secure algorithms, modern modes, and strong randomness without extra work. Prefer TLS for connections, prefer platform encryption for storage, and prefer frameworks that manage keys with an HSM or KMS when available. Verify configurations with automated tests or scanners that check protocol versions, cipher choices, and certificate lifetimes so problems surface early. Keep an eye on deprecations from browser vendors and platform maintainers, because those announcements are practical guides to safe defaults rather than academic curiosities. When decisions feel risky or unusual, seek a second opinion from a specialist rather than attempting a custom design that silently creates invisible weaknesses. Everything in cryptography depends on trustworthy building blocks, which is why critical algorithm and library choices deserve attention. The Advanced Encryption Standard, AES, remains the default symmetric cipher for speed and broad hardware support, while elliptic curve choices offer smaller keys for comparable strength in public key settings. The Secure Hash Algorithm, SHA, families handle fingerprints and integrity checks, while HMAC combines a hash with a secret for message authentication where shared secrets make sense. Transport connections rely on TLS with forward secrecy and trusted certificates, which makes the web and many apps safe even across untrusted networks. Storage protections blend full disk, database, and application-level encryptions so data remains unreadable even if a drive is lost or a backup is exposed. These consistent patterns let teams mix and match pieces without losing sight of the security properties each part provides reliably. Implementation details matter as much as algorithm choices, because small mistakes often have big consequences. Code should avoid branching or memory access patterns that depend on secret values, because attackers can measure timing or cache differences across many requests. Keys and other secrets should be kept out of logs, analytics, and error messages, because those systems are widely accessible and persist far longer than intended. Certificates should be issued with accurate hostnames, reasonable validity periods, and monitored renewal so that surprises do not interrupt important services. Systems should restrict who can export or import keys from an HSM or KMS, because key boundaries are only helpful when organizational boundaries reinforce them. Documentation should record who created a key, where it is used, and when it expires, because traceability makes audits and incident investigations faster and more reliable. Cryptography, in the real world, always intersects with people, processes, and operations that either strengthen or weaken the outcome. Access to keys must align with job roles and approvals, which ensures that no single person can misuse powerful capabilities without detection. Change procedures should require peer review for cryptographic settings, which reduces the chance that a rushed configuration silently weakens protections across many systems. Incident response plans should include steps for revoking and replacing certificates or keys, which shortens the window of exposure after a compromise. Procurement should ask vendors specific questions about algorithms, versions, and key storage, which avoids surprises after deployment when integration becomes harder. These routine governance steps turn strong mathematics into dependable protection that holds up during normal operations and during stressful events. Learning to recognize good cryptography in products is valuable, even without writing a single line of code. A secure website presents a valid certificate, negotiates TLS with modern ciphers, and supports forward secrecy through ECDHE, which your browser can summarize in a simple connection panel. A secure app encrypts sensitive data on the device, protects its own secrets, and uses platform key stores rather than embedding keys inside the code. A secure service rotates keys gracefully, monitors certificate lifetimes, and records clear audit trails that show who changed settings and when. A secure organization trains teams to use proven libraries, limits custom designs, and reviews cryptographic decisions with experienced eyes before pushing changes to production. These visible signals help beginners quickly evaluate whether a product treats cryptography as a first-class responsibility or an afterthought. The safest short list of habits for beginners emphasizes choices that age well without constant tuning. Favor AES for symmetric encryption, SHA families for hashing, HMAC for shared secret message authentication, and ECC for public key tasks where supported. Favor TLS with forward secrecy for connections, favor platform key stores and KMS for key storage, and favor audited libraries over novelty packages. Keep randomness high quality by using the operating system's secure generators rather than custom number tricks. Keep configuration simple by disabling obsolete protocols and ciphers, then documenting why the remaining options are acceptable for the information you protect. Keep your perspective steady by remembering that cryptography protects value, which makes diligence worth the extra few minutes during design and review. In summary, cryptography protects confidentiality, integrity, authentication, and non-repudiation by combining keys, algorithms, randomness, and careful operations into dependable protections. Symmetric ciphers provide speed for bulk data, while public key systems enable open exchange, secure sessions, and verifiable signatures. Hashes and HMAC detect tampering, TLS secures connections, and layered storage encryption keeps data unreadable even when devices are lost. Key management, sound randomness, and steady governance ensure that strong math remains strong inside real products and processes. With these pieces in mind, beginners can evaluate protections more clearly and make sensible choices that keep personal and organizational data private and trustworthy. Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.